Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Tom Altman, fractional CTO and tech leader, fueling growth by strategically aligning technology with vision for bold innovation. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Hey AJ, thank you so much for having me, man.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Tom. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We will be talking about tech strategies for business growth, all about fractional leadership and everything else. So we'll talk about that. But before that, Tom, let's talk a bit about you, your background, your journey, so that people understand better about who they are listening to. That Tom was also once a great DJ.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I was a radio DJ turned web developer, AJ, and they said I wasn't really that great at web development, so I got into management. That kind of took me on a trail to learn to be a leader and a manager, which then took me into CTO role at some e-commerce companies. So radio to web development to leadership to e-commerce and now fractional CTO, which has just been awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about technology and then also talk about CTOs.
Sure.
Chief Technology, but fractional. So
Right.
how should CTOs or fractional CTOs or fractional technology people make sure that they are taken seriously? How they do create that significant impact in what they are doing? Others will think they will just fly by night operators or maybe good weather friends. They will come, do take their money, go, and we will be left with whatever we are left with.
Yes, we don't want that, right? Really, the beauty of a fractional CTO, AJ, is that you kind of get to come in, you take the things that you know and you love to do, and you help that company on a fractional or part-time basis. And you can really just take a lot of times the things that we do as a CTO or any executive team, there's only a small part of that that's doing your thing as good as you can do it. And that's kind of what fractional is. Let me come in, let me work 25% time, help you get through the next hurdle. And then, I can come back later, and let you kind of do some things. And then it works out better for everyone. And you don't have the expense on the books like you might otherwise. So it's really the biggest benefit that I have seen really is where just getting there, helping a CEO, a CFO to take the company strategy, align it with the things that are going on, and then help to bring up that technology team so they're ready to just keep going and making things happen like they do every day. They just sometimes need a little boost.
Absolutely. But how does a CTO or a fractional CTO or someone from the tech side help a business who only understanding of tech is a few things here and there, maybe a bit of automation and maybe a use of ChatGPT or any of those tools? How do you then talk about vision? How do you talk about innovation? How do you actually talk about technology for business growth, Tom? Can you really take the horse to the water? Can you really force it to drink that water?
I don't know that we can force it to drink, but we can get it really near the water, AJ. Great question. I mean, I think I look at things in two pieces. You have strategy of the company, you have people management. That's kind of the two big areas where companies struggle. On the kind of strategy side, what I like to do is come in, build out a system diagram. Do you even know what all the things you have and how they discuss and how they talk to each other? We're not going to be able to execute any sort of company strategy unless we're able to see how we're going to move these puzzle pieces around to get the things that we know and we want. And we're not going to know where the gaps are until we have identified everything. So that's kind of the strategy piece on that side. The other side of it is it just feels like technology people have not always had great leaders as they've come up. Sometimes you grow into a company and you're the one person and you bring it up, from small to medium size. Well, they need someone on the top side to help them kind of focus their technological energy, because if not, you get stuck in the weeds and all you do is put out fires all day. And we need to be thinking ahead, right? When a company wants to grow 20% in the next year, you got to be doing things either 6 months earlier, 12 months earlier to plan ahead so that the company can be on the right track that they want to be on when they get there. Technology is always kind of working ahead in that way. And if the management team and our technology team is not thinking that way, there's no way a company's ever going to catch up and be able to get that done.
Right. So how should uh, you know uh, companies? How should they get ready for a CTO of a higher level who is coming as a fractional CTO or a tech person? How should are there prerequisites for a company like that? And when we talk of innovation, when we talk of technology, what are the should we just talk about say artificial intelligence, or is it about automation of the bygone eras, or is it something else that that technology entails in today's time, where we are not talking nowadays too much about technology itself seem to be another word for artificial intelligence. So how should we understand, or how should businesses, or how should small businesses understand technology for themselves in today's time?
Great question. And one of the things I always joke about, AJ, is I say, tell me some things in your business that aren't affected by technology. So we almost can take the word technology out anymore because it's everything, right? But to address your exact point, how do we jump into this world of AI and automation? Because everyone believes, I think everyone realizes that they need some part of that in their business. And when we back up and talk about that system diagram, one of the pieces of the system diagram, let's lay out all the things that we have, all the tools. Let's get a nice roadmap or visual map of who we are and what we have. The next step after that is to address, let's attach to that map every process for every one of those places on the map. The processes are the exact place where now we can come in and say, okay, what are these things that are very easily doable? You've got a very step-by-step process. Those are the first things that we can attack when it comes to AI and automation, because those things are already sitting here. We actually know exactly what to do with them. So those are kind of the easy pickings of automation and AI, and we can start to see how that's going to affect the whole entire operation. And then that what it generally does, it allows us to free up some of the time on some of those people that are our key people. Sometimes the key people in the company are doing so much more work than some of the others that we can kind of spread that out a little bit. And those are just tried and true processes that make easy work of automation.
Right. And how do you decide about the innovation part? Means, uh, is it something new that you are creating? Is it finding the right tools for them, making sure that they are able to, understand the right use of that tool?
Yeah.
Incremental innovation is innovation. How should companies, or how should people who need technology, experts like you, when they come in?
Yeah, so you can take a rock and if you throw it, AJ, you're going to hit 10 AI tools that are out there, right? So I like to look at an inside out kind of approach. So look at the tools that you have. A lot of times these tools upgrade all the time. Like an ERP has, 2 times a year where they upgrade what they're doing. And if you're not looking in and looking at the release notes, I heard a story one time about Microsoft Office. They did a big survey because they wanted to improve it better, right? And so the results of the survey that came back was 80% of the things that people wanted already existed in Microsoft Word. They just didn't know it existed and they didn't know how to get to it. And that's kind of the existence of the ribbon bar and how that happened. And so when you think about that, that's the first thing you want to do is look inside out, see what you have, what you might already be paying for, or what already might exist that you can leverage. And then you can start to work out from there. And then depending on the level of innovation and if you know exactly what you need to do, but that's why we start with those processes, because the processes should be the exact things we're doing today. And we just need to look at the things that seem like they're the most inefficient. I think right now where you're seeing the most kind of fast tracking of this is in with like the financial systems, reconciliation of invoices. When an invoice, a PO comes in and it's one price, and you agree on that price because that's what was in your system, there's no reason why we shouldn't just pay that and reconcile and move on. It just saves finance so much time that they don't have to go through every single journal entry on and on down the line that happens in all the different places. So inside out is the best way to go.
Right, right, Tom. Now, in terms of again meeting of these business leaders and people like you, what do you think business leaders should know or expect of technology, but they are not don't know about technology to that extent? What
Hmm.
is it that they are expecting from technology in today's time? Is it just technology in name? Who is the are their own teams not efficient enough to tell them about this? Is it that they are also not reading the same articles that a layman like me reads them? So I want to understand then what are their expectations when they meet a tech expert. How is it that there is a bit of mismatch here? We keep on talking so much about technology. Big companies, they may know a bit more about it, but what about the lesser mortals?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to really make sure that you understand your business, right? You get to so many times when I think we go to businesses and talk to them, and sometimes they're not aware of all the things. Your C-suite, if they're not aware of what's going on the bottom line, I mean, that's so important. And it's not that they have to be so detailed that they can do the work, but we just have to have a realistic picture of our business, what it is we do, and then and I keep coming back to this, AJ, to this process piece. We need to take the strategy and align it with the current process, and then we just have to build a roadmap on how we can get there. And there's no secret sauce. And I think sometimes instead of looking at our process, we look at a software tool that we think we can call them. We can call the biggest CRM in the company, the best CRM on the market, top two, and we call them, and we think that's going to solve our customer relationship problem. The customer relationship problem is, we need training on understanding how many times our sales and customer service teams are actually talking to our customers. You know, if we don't know how we want that to happen, no piece of software is going to come in and solve that. So, a lot of time we just spend time thinking about how does it work, how do we want it to work, and then how can we build out a map to get us, ahead of that problem. So we don't want to be buying software before we know exactly what we want to do with it.
Right, Tom. So when you go to those people, they will look at you as an investment, as an expenditure,
Yeah,
either in
first the
terms of
expenditure.
yeah, as your consulting, or maybe the tools that you will bring in. But
Hmm.
they understand more about business coming in, money coming in, profit coming in. Do
Hmm.
you think a lot of businesses expect money or sales sort of miracle happening from the CTO side, fractional CTO side? and
For
and that is
sure.
where the mismatch is. They think, okay, this guy will come, he will do such a great thing that the my business, when you talk of scaling up your business, he only listens to the money part. He does not look at understand anything else.
Yeah, I mean, what we kind of use there is a risk assessment analysis. So we come in and we try to figure out what do they feel like their biggest pain points are, right? So we get those and we kind of just list them. And then what we'll do is walk through them and kind of like talk about impact and return on investment. And then we can kind of build out a importance scale, right? Like we can sort things in order of impact and importance. And when we do that, then we can dig into those deeper, and we can address those top four, top three items. And I think the key is to come in, give solid results, and then you have to get some traction and get moving on it, right? I think sometimes we tend to look at a list of 99 and think we're going to be able to accomplish 70 of them. If we can prioritize that list and make sure that we have resources, time, and energy to do the things that are on the list, commit ourselves to that one, two, three things. That's how you do it, right? You eat that elephant one bite at a time.
One bite at a time. So you are also in e-commerce, especially since the last 10 years.
Yeah,
Uh, is it that e-commerce, people know about e-commerce, they know about Amazon, they know about in India, they know about Flipkart, they know about other
sure.
companies internationally, they know about Etsy in India. So there are so many companies people know about. But when a person like you comes in, when you talk about technology, do you think a lot of these businesses whose business is online, which is primarily selling online through the e-commerce model, do you think they understand technology well enough to make the best use of, or is it they are just fully dependent on the platform on which they are selling their stuff? What would you like to tell them in terms of as a tech leader?
Yeah, I mean, two pieces of that. I mean, AJ, you're right on. I mean, and there's five more platforms that happen, every 6 months as well. And one of those might hit, and in 4 years, that might be the new Amazon or whatever, right? So the key there is to really just be able to be flexible, right? You have to kind of, to me, I think the key is that customer base. You really have to focus on the customer. Are we solving the problems? Are we understanding where the customer is today, where they're going to be at tomorrow? And are we providing the right products that people are looking for? I think with these Etsy's, Amazon, Flipkarts, Temu, all these places, they're the ones that like drive they're driving the people's needs and wants. And you kind of have to have a little bit of what they want, and then maybe hopefully you can figure out once you get them on the site what they need and sell them something that works for them. And I mean, I think the TikTok shops have really blown up as well right now. It seems like
Right.
there's so many things being sold there and a lot of impulse buys. But I mean, I think you got kind of two pieces of it, right? You kind of have these maybe the wants and the needs, right? But like, there's just so much convenience factor. I think over the global pandemic caused us to rethink how we want to buy things, and it kind of shifted our mindsets on what we can buy online and what we can't. I know that my wife was a staunch go to the store and pick things up until the pandemic, and after that she loves to just shop online because no one really wants to go in and just wait around. So if you can get what you want there, now we have another problem because the customer's not in our retail store, they're just on our site. So it's a different experience online for sure than it is when you're in a retail store. So I think that's where the content comes into play, and I think content is the key to e-commerce winning in the future. It's authentic content that just shows you really truly know what you're talking about. You're still building that trust factor. The trust factor is just between, like, more on a one-to-one basis than maybe one-to-one on that retail name basis.
Right. So everything is happening. Most of these things are happening online. A lot of consulting is happening online. A lot of whether in any area you take it, most of these things are happening online. So when you talk about future, how do businesses get future ready? Either they are big business, small business, e-commerce businesses. How do
Yeah.
they get future ready, Tom? What is your best advice for such people?
Well, if I knew the answer to this, AJ, I probably I'd be answering phone calls when we talk. No, but in all seriousness, I think we just have to be realistic that, just like e-commerce moved, or, commerce moved online, I think businesses are moving online. We need to be, find the balance between in person and online. But like, I mean, if you think that the best person to solve your needs is going to be within your 50-mile radius of where you are at the moment, and if that's what you want to do, that's okay. You can bring people to you, or we can work together online and make things work as well. I think, look at this conversation that we're having right now, right? It's a beautiful conversation. It's not exactly like it would be if you and I were together in the same room, but it's pretty good. We can see each other, we can read each other's cues. It's in real time. I mean, it's kind of a beautiful thing what's happening here. And I think if we look at where and at our customers are, I think that starts to drive the information of what we need to build our business the way that our customers need it. I think, like e-commerce, all business needs to think about their customer first and address the needs, and how do we attack that, and how can we get our services to them in a better way than we ever have before, because we need those customers, whoever they are, and we've got to go to them. I mean, we're not expecting customers to come and find us. We gotta kind of permeate the ecosystem and get ourselves into where they are.
Absolutely. And one more thing, technology was one of the reasons people were saying businesses have gone away from the customers, that they have brought bots into that, and people are. So, do you think technology can solve? Is not a villain here. It can itself, in fact, solve lot of a problem of bringing you closer to your customer, bringing your customers closer to you. But perhaps several businesses are not able to understand this, this heart of the matter, something which you can, capitalize on, not something where you can bring bots into action.
Yeah, I guess I look at it like, the smartphones, right? Before smartphones, you would call people and you wouldn't be seeing them. So you had, and now we call people. I mean, people don't even call anymore, right? It's the FaceTime, it's these meetings that, video calls, right? And I think we have to take a cue from that and understand that we're probably not going back to the way that things worked before. We have to figure out who the next level of customer is. They're going to be younger people. The expectations that they have are so much higher in terms of how we connect together. And we have to figure out a way to make that happen on their terms. The customer does dictate the terms most of the time, unless you just have a monopoly, right? And that just doesn't happen so many times. So I think we just have to adopt and accept and understand that eventually here, AJ, that you and I will get connected after our agent bots go out and make the connection and know that we're together, and that will be the way that things happen. And I think we'll accept that. We'll accept these agents doing some of that work for us. I don't know that I really want to call up and get an appointment for a haircut, but I'm going to have to be in person to get that haircut. But if I could have some bot take care of the logistics, I think I'd be okay with that. And I think need to look at our business that way. I mean, what is the haircut? What is the bot? How can we align the work that our people need to do for our customers so that maybe that bot can queue up all the work that needs. So when that person sits down, they can just be focused and do the thing that they do the best. It'll be an interesting time to see how things go in the not too distant future. But I don't know that, ignoring the technology pieces and trying hard not to understand how to integrate that is going to be a great strategy for people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is where a person like you comes in, Tom. Your expertise comes in. A lot of things people can learn from you. A lot of businesses can learn from you, learn about you. And that you don't know just about music. You can certainly make a lot of music for them in terms of the right technology, and then that can create a lot of money music for them.
Yeah, we'll make the
So
technology sing for them, AJ.
absolutely, absolutely. So for those people who would like to learn more about you,
Yes.
learn from you, be your client, what's the best way for them to connect with you, Tom?
It would be great for them to connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Tom Altman and look for this face made for radio right here. And they'll find me, and we can do a discovery call and just talk about anything really. Like, I love to just talk, and then we can see if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, we can help them find people that do make sense for them. So
Absolutely, absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for
thank
joining
you.
us.
This was wonderful. You're a great host. I love the show. So thank you so much, AJ.